We're now down to Administrator's Report. Tim?
I don't have nothing this evening.
Commissioner's Report. Commissioner Hoskins.
Mayor, I have one thing. I just kind of want to follow up. Last week we had a discussion about the audit and about scheduling meetings and different interpretations of the meaning of a positive fund balance. And, you know, it kind of grew over into discussions about the long-term prospects for our village as it relates to revenue and how we balance that with expenditures. And this week in my box, I got our fiscal 2011 budget worksheets. I have just scheduled an appointment with the clerk to review budgets for my departments for the next fiscal year. You know, I've said for the last couple of years that we really need to look at how we distinguish between, you know, core expenditures, you know, basic services that the village is there to perform, public safety, fire, roads, meeting infrastructure needs versus non-core or discretionary expenditures. We know full well that our village has a pretty high equalized assessed value and that we have the ability to take on more debt than we currently have outstanding. And John Weber said so much, I think about 4 or maybe 6 months ago when we adopted the audit. However, I did some digging and I've looked and I've interviewed a couple of external experts on municipal finance, and someone pointed me to a recent Moody's report, and it seems that Moody's has downgraded our bond rating. And you know, as I perused the report, it said explicitly that the downgrade reflects what they consider a deterioration of the village's financial position after a multi-year trend of operating deficits between fiscal year 2007 and fiscal year 2010, leading to a deficit unreserved general fund balance. This was new to me. I'm told that Moody's gets regular reports from the village. I've never been privy to the reports. So I guess what I'm trying to ask, Mayor, is who is our point of contact? It indicates that Moody's gets projections, revenue projections. I called the finance director. She was not aware of this report. Is this outsourced through our financial advisor, or is there an internal point of contact that would present our fiscal picture to the rating services?
Commissioner, is that a question?
Yes, it is.
First time to my knowledge in almost 16 years that Moody's has ever made any contact with the Village of Forest Park to anyone in any capacity.
Okay, okay. Well, I accept that, Mayor. But I'm here to say to you that I would like to further explore this. I think that you and I should meet with our auditors. I know that we've been trying to schedule a meeting, but I'm told that this is a pretty serious issue. And I'm kind of surprised that we didn't hear about this or the prospect of this from the auditor, because according to the Moody's report, it reflects a trend. You know, it's not something that just kind of jumped up at them. And I have copies of the report that I want to share with you and the members of the council. This was available through a purchase. It costs $150. And I'd really like to figure out who is our point of contact. You know, maybe it's our outside consultant. I don't know, but I hope we can work on this together, Mayor.
Commissioner, I couldn't agree with you more. I was very much concerned and disturbed when, and if you've looked at the report from Moody's, I think his name is Dennis Lamb, is the analyst for Moody's. When I got a panic call, I think it was on a either a Thursday or Friday panic email from Mr. Dennis Lamb indicating that he had made 4 attempts to contact the Commissioner of Accounts and Finance by voicemail who he felt would have been the point of contact for their information, and that you never returned any of his phone calls. And then the email said if he didn't hear from the mayor, you know, that they were going to move forward with a negative report. And so I had to whip into action very expeditiously to do our best at you know, countering whatever you know, negative type of review that they may have done. So it appears that our Moody's rating, which I will also tell you, I don't think anybody here at the Village of Forest Park has received any direct communication from Moody's in terms of their very minimal downgrading. And so I would just hope, Commissioner, that as you continue to look at this work, at the same time, don't forget to divulge where our credit rating was, how it has been minimally downgraded, and also at the same time you should, because Moody's has available their complete reporting definitions on the alphabetical grading scale and the numerical grading scale, so that you can even then also look at that minimal downgrading that we are positioned in now, and tie that together with Moody's definition to find out that we are not at any adverse credit risk as a result of it.
That's not what the report reflects, Mayor. It does indicate that it's a credit risk. It indicates that credit will become more costly, and I've had some estimates. However, I think that Moody's should put things in writing. I don't think a phone call and a voicemail message to an elected official is the right way to go. I think that we have full-time staff, and an external entity ought to be aware of this. And you know, I do take some responsibility. I get any number of unsolicited calls from all manner of vendors. I'm sure we all do, from web services to office furniture to anything else. But in this case, it's more than just a call from a vendor. It's really about the long-term prospects for our village and the way we approach our operations, and when we do distinguish core services and don't distinguish core services. And I guess, you know, whether or not I had a call from a person who I don't know from Adam, okay, they're saying that the village is not operating in the correct fashion. And I think that's what we really need to drill down on. So I would suggest that to you, Mayor, and to my commissioners. As we go into this next fiscal year, we really need to look at cuts in some of the discretionary spending and how we move forward.
Anything further, Commissioner?
Nope.
Commissioner Curry?
A couple of things tonight, Your Honor, much less speculative than what was just discussed, and probably won't be in the paper, but hopefully it will be. Two things. The first one is this weekend I participated in a charity event where I had the opportunity to meet some of the men and women who serve in our fire department who participated in the Hustle Up to Hancock, which supported a very worthwhile organization, the American Lung Association, as well as Saturday. I did not do this on Saturday, but Saturday there was the Polar Plunge by some of our policemen in our police department, and I just wanted to thank those firemen and fire ladies and the police department for their participation. These are officers who went above and beyond what's in their job description, above and beyond what they're supposed to do to help worthwhile organizations in our community, and I just thought it was very nice of them to do it without much fanfare, without much publicity. So I wanted to thank them. Also, Saturday, I don't think it was covered, but Saturday was the Pinewood Derby contest. I did not win, I didn't place or even participate, but Kiwanis International Organization, we have a local chapter here in Forest Park, Kiwanis. They did participate and help by donating some money to the Forest Park Cub Scouts. And I just wanted to let everyone know, if you have a son or a young man that you know that's interested in Forest Park Cub Scouts, to please consider joining Forest Park Cub Scouts, and we also have a Forest Park Girl Scouts, are two worthwhile organizations. I know most of us up here were in Cub Scouts. I think Commissioner Hosty was an Eagle Scout. It's a great organization, and if anyone has a son or a daughter, I would ask them to contact me, or they can contact a gentleman named Alex Faulkner. His email address is alex.faulkner, Falconer, @att.net. Again, alex.falconer @att.net. And lastly, I brought something for show and tell. The Cub Scouts were nice enough to create a little pace car for Kiwanis International, which I have asked to please be placed in our case out front here of the meeting room, so everyone in the village can see the nice little pace car, but more importantly remind people about what a great organization the Boy Scouts, the Cub Scouts, the Girl Scouts are, and also Kiwanis. So if it's okay in there and it's acceptable, unless someone has an objection, I'd really like to have this placed out front, if that's okay.
Consider it done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything further?
No, sir.
Commissioner Hosty?
Hi. Sticking with the theme of community news, I was handed this on the way into the council meeting this evening. The St. John's Community Garden is having an informational meeting Saturday, March 12th from 1 to 2:30 in the gym at St. John's Lutheran Church at 305 Circle. They're planning on using a section of land behind the church on Washington to become a community garden. Leonard, there you go. Plugged. That's all.
Commissioner Talalian?
Well, Mayor, I'll stick with the tone initially anyway, in terms of talk about the happy stuff, the good stuff. As a person that participated in the Forest Park Cub Scout Pine Derby, probably a long time ago, I'll just say a long time ago. I reiterate Commissioner Curry's comments, and for also a person that attended the seed swap on Sunday for the community garden. It's a similar program coming up at St. John's, so I'll be in those vein and encourage everyone to participate in that as well, and also encourage people to come to the rec board meeting tomorrow. We're gonna. You may have noticed, if you've been by the Altenheim property, we've got it covered with snow, but our intent is to try to put a temporary dog park over there once the snow piles melt. We've had to use that to deposit some of our snow, but that won't be forever. So we'll be discussing that a little bit and getting a update from John tomorrow. But Mayor, I have to tell you, I hear that we have apparently a report from Moody's saying that we've been downgraded, and the claim that the investor left the messages with the commissioner. It's not like, that happens at my house when nobody's home during the day, not an organization where we have full-time staff here every day, and then when it brings it forward, we hear that you are aware of it, your assistant is aware of it, but none of us are aware of it. And it flabbergasts me to think that something like this comes forward to the village, and we treat it so casually as though, it's just a little bit of information. How is it that we can be here, that a commissioner of finance, accounts and finance, is not made aware of this when staff is being made aware of what's going on? And whether as minor as you want to call it, I want to see this report. I don't know if it's something that we can have distributed now. I know this maybe is the commissioner's report, technically not the right time, but to me this sounds like a fairly serious issue, that something should have been brought forward to us a long time ago, and not offhandedly at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner. Stand by 1 second. Sally, do you have a copy of this Moody's report they're talking about? Yes. Tim Gillen, do you have a copy of this Moody's report that they're talking about? Do you have any knowledge that Judy has a copy of this report that they're talking of? Yeah. And I neither have a copy of this report that the Commissioner is referring to, Commissioner Talalian. So I would suggest to you that you go directly to the Commissioner of Accounts and Finance, not we can do it after the meeting or whenever you feel like it, because apparently he has a copy of the report. I don't. I don't think that anyone of our village staff has a copy of the report. The phone call that I participated with was not about the report, the finished report, Commissioner. So I hope that you can analyze a distinction between a call to me to say, Mr. Mayor, if you don't talk to me, because I've attempted to contact the Commissioner of Accounts and Finance 4 different times, and my calls have not been returned. Now, you can call, in fact, if you go on Moody's website, you can call up the Village of Forest Park, and you can, because I just did this actually very late last night, and you'll find the analyst's name. His name is, I think, Dennis Lamb, with his contact information. So you go ahead and call him. That's the gentleman that I spoke to. And you can, you know, quiz him, query him, do whatever you want to do to, you know, find out what the context was of his phone call with me. We have yet to see any of the outcome from the conversations that I had with Mr. Lamb from Moody's. So, you know, nobody is withholding any information because we can't withhold something in which we don't have.
Mayor, did you say you had an email from Moody's?
I did.
You did.
And I alerted the mail because they said we need to talk to you.
Yeah. Anyway, so...
Mayor, if I may.
Sure.
My guess is that you have Rory's cell phone number in your phone. Is that not the case? I think we all have each other's cell phones.
And your point is?
As soon as you get a call from somebody, an investor saying that I need to talk to...
This is not an investor.
An analyst that says I need to, from Moody's, that says I need to talk to you, Commissioner of Accounts and Finance.
No, that's not what he...
It's a simple matter of saying,
okay,
here's a cell phone
please
number.
Continue.
And you know, if the administrative assistant, yes, we did change her name to the mayor's administrative assistant, but broadly, she's the assistant for all of us. Why is it not that call made to Rory to immediately identify that there is a person from Moody's that wants to discuss this with him, and we can at least have some knowledge of what's happening here.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Do you have anything further to report? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a motion by Hosey, is there a second? Second by Curry, discussion. Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Hoskins?
Aye.
Commissioner Curry?
Aye.
Commissioner Hosty?
Aye.
Commissioner Talalia?
Aye.
Mayor Calderon?
Aye, we stand adjourned.
Kind of squelched that pretty well.
Yep.